Hey y'all, grown black folks talk. Back out on the climb on the hottest day in San Francisco that I have walked thus far. It is about 85, and I am about a mile and some change through what will end up being about a 2-mile walk today. Just taking my time slowly, and before you have to say it, Sam Bliss, I've got my water. I've got my water today, because it is not cute out here. See, San Francisco is one of those places that could actually kill you, because you don't think how much you need to hydrate. I try to get sure I get my 60 ounces either way, but on a day like today, if you're really kind of moving around, you may need 80. But I have a couple things I want to talk about, and it'll be 2 different videos. One of them has to do with my attempt to catch up what was conversations going on with black women. And I don't have any specific thing I want to talk about right now, except to say this. These conversations boil down to whether or not you want to volunteer for slavery or not. That's it. That's all. That's all it is. Really, that's what it boils down to. I need you, and that's why the title of this video is Black Women Don't Volunteer to Go Back into Slavery. Our foremothers were brought here to be young, to be strong, to breed, and to keep their masters sexually excited. That's it. Nothing else even mattered. That's it. That's why we're here. And whenever we default, when you boil down white supremacy and you boil down manosphere conversation and you boil down the stuff that the women who believe this are repeating, it comes back down to that. You know, if you're older, you don't have as much value because you can't have as many children or any, and you can't work as long because you're all broken down and you don't matter anymore. That's slavery talk. That's all it is. That's literally the same conversations our foremothers were going through in 1800 onward. We're free still. I know that there's people out there trying to turn the clock back, and they're about to mess up the whole country trying to do it because time has moved on. But see, I need you to understand something about failed men. Let me tell you what failed men do. Y'all can read this in Genesis chapter 3, okay? Whenever their pretension and delusions of godhood do not work, they then want to then say, let me grab a woman to rule over like I would have ruled over the planet. Let me grab a woman to step up on so I can still feel like I got to be God somewhere. And that's exactly what God told Eve was going to happen. You will have a desire for your husband and he will rule over you. Well, what was the type of rule? This is fallen Adam's rule. This is not when Adam and Eve were told together, not separately. Be fruitful and multiply and subdue the earth, meaning the dominion of the earth was given to the women as much as to the men. They were not meant to do this alone. But no, you're going to have a man who's going to try to step up over you to godhood. Now, let me tell you this. And I want my divestment and hypergamy sisters to pay careful attention. Did y'all see what happened this weekend? 2 things happened. We have Dwayne Davis arrested for the murder of Tupac Shakur. And the reason that he became a suspect is because he said in interviews and in a whole book that he did it. Which means here you have a man approaching 60 years of age who never found significance of anything else but over a man's dead body. A man who is accused of murder, who is going to agree with you that, murdering is all I've got. Well, who is he modeling after? Why do we call Alexander the Greek, who actually is Macedonian, why do we call Alexander the Macedonian Alexander the Great? Because we live in a culture that idolizes killers and murderers and allows them to be significant. But not all white men are hunting real well now either. Now are they? So when you boil down what the manosphere is saying, what you boil down what the incels are saying, what they're saying is essentially the same thing. They cannot get access to the things they thought they were entitled to in a patriarchy. And the compensations for that are falling apart as well. Because those compensations depend on the women being willing to offer them. Enough white women walked away 50, 60 years ago. And this is why they're so mad about feminism. So that it's just not going to be that simple to cover up that you're not getting it in a capitalist society. And now that black women are kind of like, we've had about enough too. Now black men are mad because, again, without us, there's no way to cover, there's no way to get anything to even have a semblance. So then that leaves you the option of confronting the men who have set up an unjust system, but you can't confront them because you want to be them. You can't take down a system you want to rule. And that is how the men who actually run this economy and this society have been able to perpetuate it, because they know that men who they mistreat as badly as they mistreat everybody, but they know that because there are enough men who want to be them, the system will not be brought down until it collapses of natural causes. That's what's going on, y'all. Meanwhile, as the United States continues to decline, this still isn't working for many men. So with it not working for many men, what are they going to do? They're going to default to what Adam did. They're going to default to, well, can I still get over the top of some woman? So they're going to complete the cycle. They're going to continue to put out this line and convince other men that women who are my age and my weight have no value because I'm too old to have any children. Well, I probably could still have one or two, but it's getting to be a stretch at 42. I'm too large, I'm too dark, I'm too this and too that. And what I'm supposed to do is just now be a domestic slave. They're going to keep putting this out as long as black women are dumb enough to believe it and reinforce it. And when I say dumb enough, I'm not saying a lack of intelligence. Shirley Strawberry is a highly intelligent woman, but in this area, is it R.C. Blakes that said men with GEDs are dominating women with PhDs because they do not understand their value? Stop volunteering for slavery. The first step is to have somebody tell you. Stop thinking that your value only is derived in what you can give of yourself to someone else to do their bidding. Stop it. That is what you are doing. You are volunteering to be enslaved to someone else. That's it. In this society, it can't be any other way because that's the United States default. That's why so many black women are getting out of here. I'm going to put the link to the Exodus Summit, which takes place this weekend, run by Stephanie Perry and Adelia Borshade. No matter how far you think you need to go, if you need a sabbatical from a job that treats you this way, if you need to be able to become a digital nomad, which means you can stay or go at your pleasure, or whether you're just ready to get out, you need to understand as a black person, and as a black woman in particular, you do not have to volunteer to be in slavery. Your value is intrinsic to your creation. You have value as a human being because you exist. And black women, and Confidence with Love talks about this constantly. But we know this from science. Whatever else the mother of humanity may have been, she is in our image. She's an African woman. So the kind of scope you have as a human being is that as an African woman, you and an African descent in the diaspora can do things that can affect humanity. And if you don't understand that, just, think about, social media. You don't know who you may reach. I mean, I have international conversations with people every day because of the internet. Every day. The only limitation is, well, even English language is not even a limitation because we have Google Translate, we have DeepL, we have other tools. So I can literally have a conversation with anybody as long as I can copy and paste what they said, translate it, and say something smart and translate it back. That's it. I engage in a global economy. And nobody out there is worried about the silly stuff that white supremacists and their black imitators care about here. In fact, a lot of the rest of the world is waiting for the United States to be humbled so that they don't have to have as much of this foolery in their ears. But see, everywhere you go, you still have to be careful because, again, where there are failing men, there will always be that desire in them to step on a woman so they can be God over something. So you have to still make up your mind wherever you go. I am here because I have a purpose for my life, and it has nothing to do with what anybody else thinks about that. It's between me and my Creator. That's it. You have to come to that realization. Now, if you are an atheist, it's just you. As far as your practicalities are, this is just you, and that's fine. It's not fine in the eternal long run, but since you don't believe that, I'm not going to force it on you. But it's not all these other people. We can agree generally that it's not all these other people who have all these ideas. And I need to mention that there are enough women who push bad ideas on women because they are competing for their spots. All pimps, if they've been doing it for a while, have women that help them get other women. All these men who operate like this, have their women helpers because they're trying to make, they don't think they have value. They're getting older. They think they're going to be discarded. So how are they going to stay? They're going to make themselves useful by being complicit. Stop it. I'm going to say this because somebody has to. And I'm going to say this so that you can understand you don't need permission. I am 42 and morbidly obese. Enough so that I'm out here on a day that is around, let's see, what's the temperature right now? It's hot. I can't get to it right now while I'm on my camera. But it's at least 83 degrees. Out here walking a mile and doing what I need to do for myself. It's enough for me to keep doing that. But is it because I need to gain value in anybody else? No. I'm 42 and single. And what about it? I'm 42 and fat and beautiful. And what about it? I have intrinsic value that no man may take away from me because he did not make me. He does not own me. And what about it? And if any man comes into these comments to contradict all the foolery, he will disappear at my whim. I may leave black women's responses and post those and completely block him out at my whim. And what about it? I am free. I will not volunteer to be enslaved. And that goes for all the women who have nothing better to do with their time to try to keep black women accepting that they are less than. I don't care whether we're talking about just pearly things or just these silly women in these comments and elsewhere talking about it's a black woman's fault that she got her eardrum ruptured when she was hit in the face with a brick. I don't care. I'm not volunteering. I already did that video. Yes, I'm still mad. I'm going to be mad about that for a minute. Because I didn't know we were like this. I got to get through my stages of grief also on that subject. I didn't know we were like this. But hey, like I said, slave owners had overseers. Now, I also, that helped to maintain things, and some of them were black. It is what it is. Like, just like pimps have women to help them get new and control the women they have. It is what it is. If that's what you want for your life, get away from me. You're not welcome here. Just go. Stop volunteering. I'm going to put confidence with loves, self-confidence with black women. Becoming the confident, let me get the name right. Becoming the self-confident black woman in the description also. To give you an opportunity to work through this. The first of her 4 big questions is, who are you and what do you want? That also, I found out, is also the first big question in a different book on a slightly different subject. The Path of Least Resistance by Robert Frost. And it's about leaning into your creative self. One of them is general. The other one is specific to black women. You have to answer the question, even in a general sense. He's talking about creatives. If you don't know what it is that you want and you do not allow your desires to inform you about who you are, good or bad, you're not able to ever get into flow because you're going to be running someone else's programming. You know, you can continue to be out here run wild by other people who have all these extra plans for your life, or you can figure it out. And in the specific case of black women, I've already talked about it. Our foremothers were brought here for one purpose only, which was be breeding slaves. If you do not determine that this is not what you are for, you will be put back into the default programming. I need you to understand that. But it's your choice. I can only make you aware of it, but it's your choice. The first step is becoming aware. I have done what I can do for you. You have to decide not to volunteer for slavery. You have to decide not to take everybody else's ideas about what you're supposed to be. Stop listening to those people, exit from your life, and actually do the work to sit down and find out who you're supposed to be. Who are you? What do you want? Of course, it'll be in the description. And I also should probably just say this. Confidence with Love and I don't have the same belief system. But I came out more of who I was because the idea is, it's not always so much of, well, do we trust this person? Do they have to be exactly the same as I am to be able to trust them with the information? No, sometimes it's going in there and finding out what's going on. Sometimes if it's things to help you sit down and work with you. Now, there are a couple ways you can look at this. I've always kept journals at certain periods of my life when things got really confusing. And then if you are a Christian, you can literally walk with the Lord and discover. I've done that from before this year. That's how I've mostly done things. And I've been able to stay out of bad trouble just by when the Lord tells you to move on, you move. But it helps to have tools. I'm also going to put a new tool for therapy, because found out today that BetterHelp is in just a little bit of trouble. And although I don't know who I believe on this, I don't want to steer you into situations. There's some kind of lawsuit going on. So they will not be appearing till all that's resolved. I'm going to put therapy for Black girls and then life coaching for everybody, from Tony Gaskins that's in there. Therapy is for people who need to talk about stuff. Life coaching is for those who are ready to talk about stuff and get some action steps. And I put that in there specifically because I do see many Black men talking about is not going to help me. I need to know what to actually do. And that's good. I don't have a problem with anybody who's trying to figure out what should I actually do. I have done both. I am a Christian who has taken a Confidence with Love's course, had life coaching, and had therapy. It's okay to do all three. Whoever told you that you cannot, as a Christian, use tools that are available, just make sure that you keep in mind what comes first. If you have chosen to be a Christian, there is a set of things that comes with that. If you don't want to do those things, well, then that's, Christ is not going to be mad because you left. He made it possible for you to be there, and if you choose something else, well, he paid for it, but you'll deal with that after a while. That's on you. Yeah, and people talk about, well, there's eternal punishment. Yeah, there is, because that's just the way it is. That's your choice. You take your chances. That's what you want to do. But if it's not for you, it's not for you. Everybody isn't called to the same thing. Everybody isn't called for the same thing. Before you get to your everlasting life over there, you really do have to determine who you are over here. And it is better for you not to be a hypocrite. The punishment is less that way. And that's true from here to heaven. You still have to sit down. If you think you're a Christian because you went to church growing up because grandma took you, no, you're not. So you may as well go ahead and figure that out so you can choose Christ or not. That's just one example that comes to mind. Because I am someone, shameless plug with Jesus Christ, who believes that Jesus Christ died on the cross for our sins, was buried and rose again the third day. I don't just believe that because that's what I was taught. I believe that because I was taught that, and I had an opportunity to examine his claims for myself, and have chosen to continue to believe what I believe. I have chosen to choose him who has chosen me. But I know who I am, therefore. And what I want, therefore, is to be faithful in what I have been called. And what I believe allows me to be more effective for the Lord as a single woman. What I believe allows me to know that I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and no man was involved except my Father in making me who I am. And my Father has chosen to be involved in powerful ways because he happens to know that that Bible says to love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. He also happens to know that that Bible says if any man provide not for his own, he's worse than an unbeliever. So I'll acknowledge him always. But other than that, if you're not my daddy, who are you? I don't belong to you. My master is greater than your master. You can be the devil's man all you want, and my master is greater than your master. My master defeated your master on the cross, and when he rose from the dead, it doesn't matter who you are. My master is greater than your master. In other words, I ain't gotta be bothered. And see, y'all, when you get to the point that you don't have to be bothered, then you won't be volunteering for slavery. Y'all have a good day now. I do have another video of a more personal nature to do. Because I want to talk about how am I, staying peaceful in spite of all the stuff that's going on. But that'll be a different video. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.